Okay, take two. Shankly decided it was time to come in. Cheers to you. All the other pleasantries were on the other video. But I'm not going through it all again. Hope you're having a good weekend. Anadromous Fly Company. I would have sworn it was Anadromous. Anadromous. Bizarre. Anyway. Good day, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Vise Squad, brought to you by Tokens Fly Shop. And we've got a new sponsor this week, starting this week, and that's the Anadromous Fly Company. They've got a fantastic lineup of scissors and fly tying tools. Please check them out. I cannot wait to get some here so I can try them out, and tie with them, and I'm sure they're living up to the reputation that they've gotten so far. Anyway, this week we're going to tie a steelhead pattern. This is called the Copper Swan, which to me is sort of a hybrid between a Copper John, a Brassy, maybe a Prince, sort of a cool hybrid fly. I like to tie with wire. It seemed like a good fit for me. So anyway, like I said, this is a size 10. This is 2X heavy scud hook. We're going to put a 532 gold tungsten bead in there. And we're going to use some 140 denier red UTC, which I'm going to just start behind the bead. Like that. We'll snip our tag end out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my wire in now and chase it down the hook bend. So what I'll do is I'm going to tie that in on your side. Far side from me. And we'll just tie that down, allowing it to follow the same bend as the hook. You could go up and down with your thread if you wanted to. I think it just builds a little more bulk than maybe is needed. We'll use some nice tight turns in there. And I'm going to go part way down the bend on this. Let's say to there. Now I want to make sure that those last wraps there are really tight, otherwise the wire will kind of skip when you go to start winding it. But we'll wind our thread back up to the bead. I can see that's just rolled just a little funny there. Just straighten that out a little. There. When you're winding this up, building the body, you can always uncord your thread by spinning it counterclockwise. Helps it lay nice and flat, which is important when you're tying with wire. It gives you that nice even body. Now I'm going to build up a small taper on this, nothing huge, just so it has a bit of shape to it instead of just the same all the way up. Okay, so we'll leave our thread there and we'll start wrapping this wire. So I'm going to wrap the wire overhand, and you just want to make nice touching turns, same as tying a Brassy, as we're having that nice smooth body comes in handy. Okay, so we'll tie that up. We'll probably leave about a hook length, or a bead width behind the bead open. Just because we got some dubbing and some CDC to go in there. We'll fill up that gap with that. Pardon me, we'll just wind that wire there. So we're gonna build a little dubbing ball, and I'm gonna use, this is some Diamond Dub Black Peacock. I love tying with this stuff, it just shimmers like crazy. So we'll dub a little bit of that onto our thread. And you just want to build a little bit of a ball, and that'll help the CDC flare out. So now we've got just a small gap, probably a third of what we left, right behind the bead left now. Now what we want to do is uncord our thread and make it as flat as we can get it. I use a bodkin. This helps as well. If you just stick it in there, and as you pull back, that'll help unwind that thread. If you just keep doing that, you can't see it on the camera, but the bobbin's actually spinning with it. So now I know that there's not going to be a whole pile of CDC in there. So as long as I've got a couple inches of nice flat thread like that, I'm going to be good. Now a little trick I use is I leave my thread length quite long on my bobbin, and it's resting against my vise base, and now I know that it's not going to spin back up and undo all that what we've just done there. So next we're going to take some CDC. This is light claret, like so. And what I've done, if you caught my last video where I used CDC in when I was doing this, the trick that I learned was you take a magic eraser, like so, you cut a small cut in it, and you can, what I've done is taken that CDC and 2 feathers, and I've actually folded them in there. So now all 4 sides are sticking up. That holds them all in the right direction. Now I'm going to take my material clip. Okay, so once we got in our material clip, I'm going to take some scissors. In this case, I like to use a longer pair of scissors, just so that I can clip it all at once instead of making multiple cuts on it. I found it keeps everything sort of in place longer. It doesn't start pulling the material out of the clip. And I want to cut those right along the stem. And that'll leave a small bit back here for the thread to grab onto. And we've got what we want to show on the other side. So now we'll just set that aside for 1 second. I'll go back to my thread with my bodkin. Make sure that it's still nice and flat. And what I want to do is just split that thread in half. Like so. I find it handy if you just kind of put your finger in there. Holds it open just enough so you can get your material in without being too wide. What I'll do is I'll just hold that in between the 2 strands of thread. I'll take my finger out and let the thread close on it. Open my material clip, and now my CDC is in there. Now what we want to do is spin that clockwise, and that'll cord our thread back up. I'll just let that bobbin spin and spin and spin. Give it another one. And then if you take your finger out, that should be all nice and secure in there. There we go. Now we'll just wrap that behind the bead, making sure to kind of preen those fibers backwards. Don't trap them facing forward. Like so. Now what I'm going to do is just build a little thread base up at the front end of that CDC collar. And I'm going to grab some turkey biots. I thought of using goose, but I thought the turkey might show up a little better. They're quite a bit longer, and being this fly is quite big. I'll trim a couple out of there. And I'm going to fold them over each other, make a V. Same as you would on a prince nymph. I'm going to put it right on top. And put a couple loose wraps in there just so that they stay there and I can still work with them and get them placed. So I don't think you want to have them come back any further than kind of, not even, I don't know, maybe a third of the way from the hook bend back. You don't want them too long. Once you get them where you want them, a couple nice tight thread wraps will keep them there. And then just reach in there with your scissors nice and close. Trim the butts out. Don't tug on them too much because they will move around on you. And then I just work my thread forward to cover up what's left of the butts there. And then we'll grab a whip finish tool and finish. And that's it. And a bit of head cement or maybe some Solera's bone dry on there. Pretty good just to lock all those thread wraps in nice and tight. And because we use red, not only does it help you with the wire because the wire's red, if you did have a gap in the wire, you wouldn't see it as much, but now you've got a nice kind of a hot spot behind the bead as well. So that's it. The Copper Swan. Pretty fun little pattern, I think. I think if you downsized it just a little, I think you'd probably fish trout for that pretty successfully too. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed it, folks. If you like the video, please hit the bell, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and you won't miss any of our upcoming content. There's always new stuff going up on the channel. Please visit our store, which is fishingandoutdoors.ca. I might be wrong there. Rick will put up the thing for me. I'm drawing a blank today. But and you can visit our sponsors. All their products are on our website, or through the store, sorry. And it doesn't cost any more to buy them through us, but it certainly helps keep the lights on for us. At any rate, thanks again for watching. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Rick for all the hard work you're doing. And we'll catch you next week. Thanks, folks.